Hello, my name is Angelique Coleman, and I am back for my second video vlog. And for my interaction with my partner named Lisa, who is from China, we went to Starbucks over on Grand River and we had a coffee date which lasted for about an hour. And basically, for that hour, we got to know each other just generally a lot better, which really helped because in the end, we found that helped us understand each other and the cultures that we come from and like how it was like growing up for each of us, which was very helpful. And something that we talked a lot about was our education experiences and our educational systems that are in both of our countries. And we just talked about the similarities and the differences. Like, for example, we talked about the competitive nature that's in both of our education systems. And we talked about a lot how even though they're both very competitive in their own rights, they have their own competitive nature of their own. Like, for example, over here in America, our education system is more competitive towards the end of high school, especially like when you're going into college. When you're applying for colleges, it's very competitive, especially when you're trying to get into a university, and for example, like a Big Ten university like Michigan State. But then, in contrast, over in China, when a child starts school over there at about age 6 or age 7, kind of like in America, it's competitive like from start to finish. Like the moment the child starts school, it's very intensive and it's very competitive. The admission process for school, even when kids are young and they're just starting out school, it's very, very competitive. And it's very expensive over there too. School's a lot more expensive over in China than it is over in America. And Lisa talked about how this can put a lot of financial burdens on families. And also, we kind of talked about the pressure that's involved with school. Like over here in America, we have basically, like in America and in China, there's the pressure to get through school so that you can succeed and get a good job. And another thing that we talked about in our education experiences is something that we both do or that we both did in our education systems and processes. For example, over here in America, I took the SAT during my junior year of high school in preparation for applying for colleges. And again, the SAT is a test that us Americans have to take if we're going to college. And the score basically helps colleges decide if you're college ready. And over in China, Lisa had to take a test like that as well, and it was called the Geico. Sorry if I mispronounced that. But basically, that test, it's also an exam for higher education, and it's a test that the universities over there highly use to decide whether or not they are going to admit you into college. But the main difference is I found that Lisa's test was a lot harder. I actually did some research on this after our little interaction, and I found that only about 40% of the students over there passed that test, which I found that was very intense. And basically, what I learned about our cultures is I found that our educational system is kind of relaxed compared to other countries and cultures, like countries like China. And I found that basically with China, you're basically like, it's either like you sink or you swim, while in America, we're focused on always trying to lead all of our students to the path towards so that they can graduate at least high school and get a career or a job. And I feel like in China they do that too, but at the same time, the responsibility and the pressures put a lot on the student to succeed. And if you don't succeed, you're not going to get a job and you're not going to be successful in life overall. And also, with that, we talked about attention and metacognition. And again, adding on to that, like the attention and metacognition, it was a lot of their responsibility because again in their school system it's either they sink or swim, and I feel like in America it's our responsibility too, but then at the same time I feel like we can become lackadaisy about it just because our school system and education system is generally more relaxed than China. So basically, that is all we talked about for our first interaction.